The week started with the astounding news that Neiman Marcus, the popular luxury retail chain store, might be days, maybe just hours away from filing for bankruptcy. Is the first company that's gonna fall in this crisis, in this compartment. So in this video, the collapse of department stores, we're gonna analyze the default of Neiman Marcus, the long agony of department stores across the country. We're gonna try to focus on the causes of this situation, of this crisis, and we'll try to imagine some solutions for the future. And of course, as usual, if you would like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. So it is true. Neiman Marcus very likely has the only option to file for bankruptcy. It sounds incredible for a company that has been around for more than 100 years, founded in 1907 and still based in Texas, famous for being the luxury brand of department stores across the country, has no other option than to file for bankruptcy. Well, last week there were already rumors that that was the only option for the company, since they missed the payment of a bond payment for a part of their shareholders. So the situation already looked very critical, and nothing happened over the last weekend. So neither the management nor the shareholders come up with any other alternative of or solution, and so now they are facing this really tough decision. Now it is unclear if they are going for a full bankruptcy, which is the chapter 7, where basically they close the company and have to liquidate the assets, or if they're going through a chapter 11 procedure, where they might try to renovate or restructure the business. But it sounds really incredible. Of course, Neiman Marcus is a brand known throughout the country, not only for their luxury department stores, but also for being the owners of Last Call, another popular retail chain store, and Bergdorf Goodman, the jewelry stores. And of course, there is the one very famous in New York, across the street from Tiffany, very close to Central Park. So Neiman Marcus already furloughed all its 14,000 employees, and this includes also part of the management and the executives. And it's not clear again if they will ever open again, despite the measures of the federal government and the financial support that companies are receiving. This looks like very hard times for the brand. Now, the news is surely shocking, but not entirely surprising. We already read last week about other famous brands like Macy's, JCPenney, Kohl's. They all furloughed their employees and closed their stores. Of course, the biggest news was about Macy's, that furloughed 130,000 employees and shut down all its locations. A brand that, of course, we all have accustomed to love throughout the years. Macy's, especially in New York, is a landmark with its building in Union, in Herald Square. A very iconic building in the middle of the city, famous for the events that also take place over there, and of course the Thanksgiving parade on Thanksgiving Day, an attractions that usually gathers millions of people in the street of the city. And the department store industry as a whole has been in a deep crisis for many years. That's why I call this a long agony. Maybe still in small town America, and I'm pretty sure still in many cases, malls and department stores are key for the community. Are key places for the community, places where Teenagers can safely go and socialize, where moms can hang out together, where family can spend some time together when they do their shopping. But especially in large metropolitan areas in the cities like New York, the decline has been pretty evident over the years. We all remember how these places used to be packed, but the truth is that over the last several years, these places were almost empty or deserted most of the time. I remember a recent trip to Saks Fifth Avenue, and it was really depressing. There were only basically Chinese customer representatives and salespersons, a few Chinese ladies doing shopping, and nothing much. So, of course, uh, the role played by Amazon and online shopping has put these companies in a very hard spot, and some of them really tried hard and have been successful in refreshing their business model, renovating it with online orders and store pickups. But of course, a complete shutdown of the country and the economy has put under heavy stress business model that was already very troubled. So we will see how this situation will unfold. Two are the main causes for this situation. One is the financial structure of these huge companies that relies almost exclusively on debt. These organizations were already in deep debt before this crisis started. And the second reason is that the brands who represent the vendors in these malls and department stores used to rely on Chinese money from Chinese customers. So especially in the luxury market, China has driven the luxury market over the last 10 years and represents more than 30% of luxury expenses around the globe. So on one hand, you have these companies that rely a lot on Wall Street. So there are a lot of very complex financial instruments through which you can basically sell the debt on the market in the form of stocks and bonds. So these companies were financing these activities with financial instruments that relied on debt. On the other hand, again, the luxury Chinese market and the customers doped this industry for many years, because these brands were healthy. These luxury brands were healthy in Asia, but not here in the United States. And there wasn't really a strategy in place for the department stores in America how to restructure, how to, in some cases, reinvent their business model in order to match the needs and the demands of the American market. But of course, the game looked very easy at that time. But now, with the fracture of relationship within our countries, this looks really bad. Solutions for luxury brands are mostly based on going back to small businesses and local shops. They are much more friendly. There is a deep connection between these places and their communities around them. And moving forward, it's very easy to imagine that our communities are going to be poorer than before this crisis. So they have to be way more careful when they make a purchase. And of course, there is a different relationship with the shop owners. And the message and the attitude of a lot of people is going to be to support their local businesses, the people they know, instead of cold, impersonal, huge holding companies. Everybody is rediscovering the value of human relationships and proximity, respecting the social distancing. So luxury brands surely have the option to support different business model. Also, when it comes to department stores and malls, they surely have to invest way more in their personnel and in the experiences they provide to their customers. They have the advantage compared to small shops and local businesses of their size. The fact that they really can truly provide unique experiences to their customers. We are all accustomed to online shopping, and again, this crisis has only accelerated that process. So you have to give a reason to somebody to actually go out and come to your place. And again, on this side, local shops are going to have a competitive advantage. So department stores have to instead use their locations in order to diversify their services. So it's possible to imagine that malls will include co-working spaces, maybe spaces for training classes where they can train people, or have shared space with other small businesses and entrepreneurs. So there are surely ways where these spaces can be reimagined. And we also have to accept the reality that there were too many of these places. Again, there was an inflation of malls and department stores, so expensive, spread all over the country. And that was mainly, to some extent, speculation, was purely financial speculation. They really didn't have they weren't the equivalent of an actual demand from the public. So as anybody else, this industry as well has to readapt to a new reality, and not necessarily this new reality is going to be worse. If it's going to be more focused on people, on local communities, trying to provide more affordable services and products, and not having a fierce competition that is merely based on price, trying to have cheap merchandise instead of focusing on quality. And this is particularly true when it comes to luxury. That's why small businesses and local shops can actually make a difference in this scenario. And because of their smaller structure, lesser costs, they can actually mix their business and activity with a traditional brick and mortar shop combined with online activities. Since social distancing apparently is going to be the rule for a very long time, and it's easy to imagine that we will get very accustomed to this new reality, and we're going to be ultimately healthier and safer. So this is not necessarily for the worse. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps to support us, and see you soon.